Howdy, friends. Welcome to episode 4. Very exciting. I'm very pleased with how the series is coming out. I really hope you guys are enjoying the content. I am enjoying making it. Let's see. I want to show you guys kind of the progress that's been made between episode 3 and episode 4, mostly buttoning up boring stuff. So let's take a quick look. I figured we could get started with a little bit of a pan out, right? Because this actually looks like a car again. And I say that not because it's missing a front bumper cover, but because everything is pretty much put back together. So everything was finalized with the intercooler and radiator stack. Everything has been tightened over here. All of the intercooler lines have been hooked up. All of the radiator lines have been reattached. We have cleaned, right? We have buttoned. I need to do a little bit of wire management over here for the washer tank that I'm not going to put back. I'll just leave that on the floor. We've undone one of the little hoses that's cleaned up the engine bay. That's for the secondary air pump. The headlights are now back in. Everything looks nice and stable, right? Let's see. The battery and the battery tray are put back together. The ECU is back in, and all of the wiring is done, right? So, this is the flex-in harness for the multi-port fuel injection. You can see I've got it nice and wrapped. It's all put back together here, and all the wires are nice and sneaky, right? So obviously we're not hiding the fact that the car has multi-port injection, but it is nice to not have to look at wiring. So all that is put together. Let's see. Last time you guys saw the MPI, it was just test fit. Now you can see that it's fully installed. We got brand new stainless hardware. All of our sensors are reinstalled. All of our pipes and things on top are put back together. And we've also finished up the oil change. So gleefully prosperous in the last couple days that I've been working on this. I intentionally didn't film it because pretty boring. You know, this is all real small stuff. I could have done a time lapse, but I think we all want to see the interesting things. So let's start there. As you can see on the screen here, I'm going to go ahead and put it on the right side. We've only got 2 steps left in phase 1, which is so exciting, right? First one of them being the downpipe here. We're going to take the stock downpipe out and replace it with a nice high flow cat pipe that should eliminate some restriction in the exhaust. And also the last piece of this is going to be our high pressure fuel pump. It is an Audi RS3 Brushless high pressure fuel pump. It is totally going to make enough gas to get through this MPI rail to make sure we never run out for the horsepower levels we're at. I'm sure a lot of you guys are saying, especially those who are pretty familiar with these cars, that MPI is total overkill on an IS20 car, and that would be that baby turbo way down in there. Now, I am future-proofing, right? I am future-proofing because I know you guys haven't seen this since episode 1, but here is the big turbo for down the road, right? So I'm future-proofing so that whenever this car comes in, this turbo eventually makes its way into this car, that we've got all the fuel that we need, right? And not only that, but it also cleans the valves, which is always preferable, keeps carbon off of them, and I'd much rather have more fuel than less fuel, right? You can't always add it, right? Because the stock direct injectors do get overwhelmed. As you guys can tell as well, I did decide, since everything is kind of rolling, not to do the high pressure fuel pump. I do have those parts still. I do intend to hold on to them just in case I decide to go high pressure fuel down the road, but I shouldn't need to, right? That low pressure fuel pump, that RS3 pump, and this MPI kit should have a ton of headroom, right? We should be able to make probably 450 wheel horsepower plus with the amount of fuel in the car. And then if we ever decide to go further, then there's always a high pressure fuel pump. So with that in mind, I think tonight, like I said, the priority is going to be working on the downpipe. Unfortunately, and let me show you this, access to this downpipe is a massive pain in the neck. So you can see we're underneath the car. This is the secondary catalytic converter. That is your mount right there. And then way up there, you can see that kind of weird looking hexagon type thing. That is the flexible section of the downpipe. At the very top, there's actually an initial catalytic converter, which makes this even more challenging to get out. For the keen-eyed among you, with this being an all-wheel drive car, you'll notice this beautiful drive shaft, right? You'll also notice all the heat shields around said drive shaft that all have to come off in order to get this downpipe out of this car. I intentionally have been procrastinating this part of the job. It's not because I haven't done it. I totally have. I've done it twice. But I'll tell you, on all-wheel drive MQB cars, this is pretty much not fun. So I don't know how we're going to get started. I'm kind of just going to brute force it, I guess, in the not breaking things way. I'm just going to start pulling stuff apart until something interesting happens. So you've seen what it looks like now, and Now I'll clip in whenever I get something done. Here we go. Hey guys, just checking in, hanging out in my natural place under oily race cars. In this moment, I'm thinking about a lot of things, mostly my lack of a lift, B, about my wonderful girlfriend who is filming for me right now, and C, my utter disdain for Volkswagen engineers. I like the car, but using an extension combination like this to get to a heat shield should be illegal. And I hope deep down that they step on a thorn, whoever came up with this, right? Because this is just me. Not a big one, that would be mean. But a reasonable size thorn, for the thorn that they put in my neck to get to a heat shield. This is not the first either. In fact, sorry, don't mind me just crawling around. This also had to have a very similar combo because the CV boot couldn't get too hot. For that, I'm thankful. So anyway, with all that in mind, coming along fabulously. Nowhere else I'd rather be. Another day in paradise. You'll see it as I get more stuff out of here. See ya. Hey guys, so if it looks like I've been hanging out on the floor, I have been. You guys just saw the previous clip. We've hit hard times, which is a moment of reflection, so y'all can laugh at me, but have a look. So indeed, we have a dilemma. So the drive shaft, right, way down there, right, at the very bottom, the thing I've been working on. In fact, I'm going to just kind of come down here and show you. So the drive shaft, once you pull all the drive shaft bolts off, which is normal, right, when you drive, we pull all these things off. Okay, so there's our drive shaft, right? So to get the drive shaft off, all the way up there at the front, you have to remove all the bolts, which we have done. They're all on the floor right there. And then you need to rock the engine forward by undoing the dog bone. So dog bone's been undone. Now, hopefully, the keen among you will remember all that beautiful work that we did on motor mounts, right? You know, those ones down there and that one right there. So, fun fact, you know what's really hard to move? The engine, right? Whenever you need to rock it forward to get the drive shaft out because you just put in really strong durometer engine mounts. So, yep, you got me there, right? Checkmate, Tanner. You're a dummy. But oh wait, it gets worse. Not you know, like for the most part, durometer, you can push past it, right? No big deal. Well, the challenge is that we have installed our gigantic jilly bobs up here, right? The big intercooler, the big radiator, and all the other fun stuff. And the clearance up here is shockingly very tight, right? It's because we added all that width. Now, here's the big issue. In order to get the engine to rock far enough to get the drive shaft out, guess what has to come loose? You guessed it, it's the horn. So the good news is it's not all that much work. So pulled that bolt, pulled the bolt down there, pulled that bolt, pulled the bolt down there. We're going to get back into the horn bolts, the four that go on either side right there, and then that should give us the space to rock the engine forward and get the drive shaft out. Here I go. All right, guys, great news. So rocking the engine forward by loosening up the horns gave us enough room to get the drive shaft off to the side here. So now you can see it is loose, right? So I can move it around as I please, which should give us enough room to get the downpipe out. Now, that is a tomorrow job. It is 11:20 and I'm going to bed. So we'll get after it tomorrow, hopefully get this downpipe out and go from there. My friends, it is the next night and I'm wearing the same hoodie, so don't judge, but we have success in our midst. This is a stock downpipe on the ground. Look how much room there is for activities up there now, huh? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. If you can't tell the difference between these two, then you might be a little dumb. So, here's the biggin, right? 2 catalytic converters and a really long section of pipe makes that thing very unpleasant to get out, as you guys have been watching me struggle with. Now, this is the replacement. You see it's got a little bit of a flex joint. It has got no catalytic converter up here. The catalytic converter for this kit actually gets extended down into the exhaust, which means that this is going to go in like a glove. Exhibit A. Boom. That was a test fit, but still so much easier to get the aftermarket downpipe in. So now we're going to pull it off again, which is super fast. We're going to throw on the O2 sensor, some other related hardware, and then go ahead and start bolting stuff back together. Alrighty guys, welcome back. So everything is bolted up and done. You can see we've actually got the shields back on, pipes are fully installed, drive shaft is all put back together, both front and rear. We have also installed our dog bone mount right there, and it's all been buttoned up. Now, it has been, and I'm a little ashamed to say this, like 4 days since I checked in. Bits and pieces kind of getting the car put back together. I did just go through a holiday, so we did some traveling and some stuff like that. But the downpipe is done, which is great. I am so incredibly tired of being under this car, even 4 or 5 days after you guys saw that last clip. So now we get to start working on the last piece of phase 1, which would be the fuel pump. So once the fuel pump is done, then it's going to be gloriously into phase 2. So let's get into the fuel pump. I'll start showing you guys what that looks like coming apart. So in comparison to the downpipe, this should be an absolute cake job. And I say that knowing that these baskets are the literal devil. On these all-wheel drive MQB cars, they're just the worst. Like, they just suck so bad. Now, but the good news is we don't have to pull out 15,000 heat shields and all the other dumb stuff that came along with the downpipe. Downpipe's in. No one's going to take that away from me. I promise you that. So I got the seat out, handily placed on the roof, because where else do you put it? We're going to undo all these fuel lines, undo all these connections, and then we can start looking at the electronics and getting out the big RS3 Brushless pump. Doesn't that look like completely different? Basically a little bit of contact cleaner and some scrubbing. I wanted to make sure we didn't send a whole bunch of crap into the tank whenever we pop the lid here, but you see we've got handy dandy mallet and flathead screwdriver to spin the ring on this thing, and then we're going to see if we can slowly but surely extract it. So word for the wise, and I'm doing this mostly for me, right? When you're pulling the pump out, right, it sits with this tab facing straight backwards, right? Backwards to the car, kind of like this, right? Okay, so when you're coming out, your first move is going to be rotating it towards the passenger side of the car. That's where you get this lower tab here, okay? The big pain in the butt, if you're doing one of these, is the float sensor. The float sensor does not want to come out of that hole, okay? So the math is rotate it towards the passenger side and then slowly rock it towards the front of the car until you clear the float sensor. From there, you can then twist it, right, with the tab almost facing the front, and then that will help you present the low, the low and the high pressure fuel line. And I think it's more like the return in the center. Anyway, that will expose those. You click those two, and then boom, you're ready to go. And then ideally, you don't drop your power wire back into the tank, so you have to fish it out. But hey, you know, I can only be so perfect. So we're going to go ahead and get this disconnected, and I'll show you guys what the new pump looks like. So if we look into this handy dandy box marked RS3 Brushless pump, you might find, believe it or not, an RS3 Brushless pump. So for those of you who are not familiar, the RS3 is the version of the 8V A3 that has the 5-cylinder engine, right? That's the turbo 5-cylinder that makes bukus of stilly horsepower. And obviously, in order to support all that horsepower, they have a much beefier low pressure fuel pumps. These actually do drop in with a little modifications and a couple different wiring harnesses and stuff. It also comes with a much stronger fuel pump controller module. That's this one right here. They call it the FPCM. This FPCM has much thicker gauge wires so that it can actually take the heat. So they've actually tried running the stock FPCM on this pump before, and it literally melts the wires into nothing. So I had this on the Golf R. I pulled it off, replaced it with a stock one, and now it's going on the A3. Let's go ahead and see if we can get this thing situated in the hole. All right, friends, we're at our stopping point. So, great news. Everything's all wrapped up and tidied. We've got the wiring hammered out. I actually spent a bunch of time cutting out some foam here in the back, so you can see that our module sits nice and good. So that's our fuel pump control module. So it sits nice and flush, and whenever everything comes down, aka that thing that's way over there on the Jetta, this thing will be totally flush. You'll have no idea that thing's back there, so it's a nice and sneaky install. The only thing that we need to finish up on is this grounding cable here. So if this was a Golf, there would be a small bolt right here that holds in this big plastic piece, right? Unfortunately, that plastic piece doesn't exist here on the car, so we've got to come up with a different place to place the ground. I came up with an idea. I'm going to take this mounting bracket here off of the seat belt. I've already located some hardware that I picked up spare from the radiator. We just got to find a nut for that tomorrow, and then our plan is we're going to take the ground to right here. This seems like it's going to be a good spot. I've already gone ahead and sanded it. You can see it's nice and clean, and that should give us a nice solid ground for the fuel pump. I tell you what though, totally forgot about this. I, like many of you, have gone to Ace and been the guy who's like, okay, well, I got to tear this all apart and go find one singular piece of hardware, and I got to pay $6 for 2 or 3 stainless steel nuts or all this other dumb crap. I kind of went, hey, it's 21st century. What can we do to fix this? And the long story short is you can buy hardware on Amazon for the same money that you would spend at Ace or any of those others. And the best part is they ship it to your house. So you don't have to go sit on the aisle and talk to the older gentleman who's like, "Oh, can I help you, son? Oh, you know what you were looking for?" And yes, because, sir, I appreciate you. I do. Right? I know what I'm looking for. I need that nut, and I don't want to have to search through 15,000 of your bins to find it. Like I said, $5.99, ship Prime, to my door, good to go. So now we're going to put this ground wire over there on my little homemade sanded pedestal, and this LPFP, or low pressure fuel pump, you get the point, is going to be done. I'll put the seat back in, and then this will be the actual wrap up, I suppose, of phase one. With the conclusion of the fuel pump, we are officially absolutely done with phase one, right? There's still some button up items that I'm going to wait till the end of phase two to complete, like the bumper cover and some of the interior bits and pieces that are all small and easy to do. Same thing with like the intake and things like that. But other than that, phase one is done. Horsepower is all taken care of. The only thing left to do outside of those other two, I think, is just flashing the tin, which is going to take 20 minutes. So we're going to go ahead and move on to phase two. That'll be next episode. So hopefully episode 5 is going to be all about tearing into this thing from a suspension basis. I think I'm going to start in the back, work my way forward, and we'll see how it comes from there. But what you can look forward to next episode is me, like I said, rear coilovers, rear brakes. We actually have some Golf R brakes that they're gonna mount up to this thing. We've got braided or stainless steel lines that we're also going to use, and then a little bit of flushing, a little bit of draining, and we'll go from there. Either direction, I really appreciate you guys watching. If you like the content, leave a follow, leave a like, leave a comment. I love to read the comments. Linked here on my left here is going to be the last episode, as well as the Loyalty to Motorsports YouTube channel. And elsewise, we'll see you in the next episode. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon.